Thomas Donnellan, a Roman Catholic priest. During the 50s, the total racial complex of our city neighborhoods changed. Black people, having made some money during the war, began to move into white neighborhoods. And the white people, in great numbers, moved either north or south or west, because Baltimoreans moved in a straight line. And so large areas of Baltimore City went from all white to all black in 2 or 3 years. Baltimore Street became the Great Divide. The north side of Baltimore Street was 100% black. On the south side, it was almost totally white. There began to be an uneasiness. It's hard to put it into words. We didn't even want to face it, but there was an uneasiness there. And when Martin Luther King was assassinated, we just did not know what was going to happen. I was pastor of the Church of St. Peter the Apostle at Hollins and Poppleton Street when the riots broke out. I was 3 blocks from the church when I heard the terrible roar of police sirens. I rushed back to the church on the corner of Baltimore Street and Poppleton Street. On both sides, everything was being set on fire. The stores were being looted. There were hundreds of people burning down Baltimore Street. We never dreamed. You know, people were literally out of their minds with sheer rage. Suddenly behind me there were hundreds of white people armed because they were not going to let them burn our church. They were armed with guns, knives. Some of them were policemen, security guards, but living in the city and having a gun was not unusual. I shuddered when I thought about what could have happened. The governor declared martial law, which meant anyone on the street after 4 o'clock was subject to being shot. The National Guard was on duty, camped at Carroll Park, but they were not trained to shoot to kill. They did not know how to handle the hatred and the violence that had erupted. The governor asked the president to send in the federal troops. There was a contingent of the 161st Airborne Division out of Fort Bragg that had just come back from Vietnam and had been granted Easter leave to go see their families. The president canceled their Easter leave and ordered them into Baltimore. It's not hard to imagine the mood that they were in, just having come back from Vietnam and having their leave canceled. So the riot really ended with their arrival. Rioters would walk up and just make fun of the National Guard, but they did not make fun of the 161st Airborne. I was determined to have the Easter Vigil 11 o'clock that night. I went to see the commander of the guard and I said, look, I've got to have this night service. We spread the word to all of the areas and they sent jeeps with armed men to escort the walking crowd to church. And we had several hundred people. St. Peter's Church has big parapets. On the high granite, there were armed soldiers. And some of the worshipers were soldiers. And although I've been a priest 51 years now, that was probably the single most positive religious service that I ever celebrated, because we had gone from death to resurrection. After the riot, things were not normal. The black community, the ministers, wouldn't speak to us, because they said if they did, they would be in trouble with their communities. They would be Uncle Toms. Where there had been cooperation, there was now distrust and animosity. We didn't know what the future held. All of the years of hard work to build bridges literally burned up in a moment.